Okay, welcome everybody to this hybrid meeting of the Angus Council Licensing Board. I would remind all attendees that this meeting has been recorded and webcast live on the Council's YouTube channel. I would remind all remote attendees to mute their microphones when not speaking, unless they wish to speak, and they should do so by raising their hands remotely. Can I also remind remote members attending hybrid meetings where quasi-judicial matters are being considered, they will not be permitted to participate by audio only and must have their video switched on at all times. Thank you. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Yes, Convener, there's apologies from Councillor Ross Gregg and Councillor Gavin Nicholl, and we've got Councillor Jill Scott remotely, and the rest of the members are present in the chamber.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest and statements of transparency. Do we have any? No? Thank you. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. Members will have had a copy and read them. Can we agree these as a true record? Thank you. Item 4, new provisional premises licence applications under the Licensing Scotland Act 2005, starting at page 10 in your papers. The first station, Hume Street, Arbroath. This is Motor Fuel Limited from 10 Brickett Road, St Albans. Now we have someone here. Is it Andrew Hunter? Good morning. Good morning, Andrew. Would you like to present on behalf of the application?
Thank you. Good morning to you all. I should also say he's now appeared, Tamer Sood, who's the one of the area managers for Motor Fuel. Your Honours, the background to this application, it comes before you as a provisional premises licence because Motor Fuel are in the process of acquiring this. If you're familiar with the locality, you'll know it to be the Morrison's petrol station. And the background here is that Morrison's, the supermarket, are selling all of their, I think just around about 340 sites across the United Kingdom, and Motor Fuel are acquiring all of them, so there's 49 in Scotland. Motor Fuel as an operator may be familiar to you, although there aren't currently any of their operating premises in your local authority area. They've got about 1,200 petrol sites across the UK. They're classed as independent in the sense they don't trade under any particular canopy, so they have BP sites, they have Esso sites and so on. And I suppose so they've got 3 and 5. They've got Broxton services at Perth, there's premises in Pitlochry, premises in Stonehaven, so you're surrounded, if you like, but without actually having any in your area. And the plan for this Morrison site is that it will remain canopied in the sense that it will continue to have the Morrison's logo on it, but it will undergo a substantial refurbishment to operate as a more general convenience store, and the application before you requests that it has a small element of alcohol in it as part of that convenience offer, and that's aligned with what Motor Fuel do across the country. They've got about 95 licensed premises across Scotland already, and they all have within them the type of Delta a national operator to have. I'm pleased to say I've acted for them since 2007, and I've never had to appear on their behalf before a board other than in relation to an application for a licence or a variation, so no concerns in that respect. In relation to the specifics of the application, the premises haven't attracted any objections. The application was lodged with a capacity of 85.1 square metres. Between the time when the application was lodged and today, the application has been adjusted slightly. So I do have a request to change the capacity slightly, if you're, and that's to the number of 8.382 square metres. That's simply because from the time of original drafting of the application and now the shelving changes have slightly affected that. So it's 0.35 square metres of a difference. Obviously, if you're not happy to do that under your discretionary powers today, then we would lodge a major variation in due course. Although, given the difference, I would ask you to accept that, and if you do, then I'll submit the relevant plans to your administrative colleagues. The standard conditions in relation to delivery are all acceptable. The alcohol is electronically tagged as part of the process of delivery, and only drivers who have relevant training are able to collect the orders that do so. The only other matter I think that's relevant that I need to raise is that because this is a petrol filling station, you'll have seen in your papers the market research documentation which was submitted. Now, I don't know, and I would ask through perhaps Ms Anderson if the board have had heard a petrol station application in the recent past at all. You have, so you'll be familiar with the statutory test that you have to consider, and the question of reliance, and the market research is driven at trying to uncover answers in relation to that. I'm more than happy to go through it in detail if you wish me to do so, or I can simply pick out the highlights, which are that or I'll tell you what the highlights are, and for particular questions of the board members from having looked at it, then I'm more than happy to address you on that in more detail. But ultimately it comes out as 217 of 274 local residents, which was stated that they had the required level of reliance on the premises to meet the statutory test. Now, for my sins, I've done about 200 applications for new petrol station licences, and I've never seen local resident reliance at 79%. It comes in at sometimes between 30% and 40%. This is far and away the highest I've seen on a percentage basis, and it's 217 out of 463 people that were interviewed, so just under half. And the market research explains that not everybody is asked to participate, so it's intended to be random sampling of individuals. And as I always say to licensing boards, you'll know from your own experience of market research, many people don't choose to be involved for various reasons because they don't have time or just simply don't want to be asked and take up the time and get involved. So it is a sample of local residents, and it does in my submission demonstrate that the premises have, for the purposes of fuel purchases, an appropriate level of reliance to satisfy the statutory test. And there's quite a number of remarks in what's called the open-ended answers where customers talk about other facilities, and I think there's only two within the immediate area. One of them's a pay at pump Asda, and the other one's what looks like a slightly outdated Shell premises on, is it Carney Road? So these premises are due to be refitted. They should come on board as motor fuel and Morrison property around about October time with the licence, if you're minded to grant it. From a customer's perspective, they'll only see an improved convenience offer. It'll still appear to be a Morrison's with some motor fuel logoing, and if you're a local, you'll still be able to collect your Morrison's points at the shop and so on. So that's the background to it. I'm conscious of getting to the stage where I would start repeating myself, and I'm very keen not to do that. So I would invite you to grant the application, and I'm of course happy to answer any questions you might have in relation to any of it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We have an LSO report attached to this. I'm just wondering, Kevin, do you want to say anything on that?
Thank you, Convener. No, there's nothing further I can add to that.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open it up to questions. Oh, Councillor Brace.
Yes, could you please give us the figures again from the survey results?
Yeah, absolutely. So a total of 463 people were invited to undertake the survey. Because the legislation is concerned with local residents, the market researchers take a 1 mile radius So 274 of those 463 are the local residents who go through the process. Everyone else is thanked for their time and can go about their way. And the market researchers do, they take the postcode of the individual and they do checking at the back end once the interview's all over, just to check those people are local residents. As it happens, all of them were fuel customers. 242 of them said it was a petrol station they used as their principal source of fuel, and then of them, almost 90% of them said that if the facility wasn't available to them, they would regard themselves as materially disadvantaged or inconvenienced, which is the statutory test as interpreted by the court in the court session in Edinburgh in 2011. So 217 out of 274 locals, 79%, provided information in the survey that goes to the heart of the statutory test, that premises are not excluded. And my observation to you was that so I was involved in the very first case under the new legislation that went all the way to the court session. That's why I don't have any hair left. And that was in 2011. I've done about 200 premises applications for petrol stations, and I can say confidently I've never seen local reliance at 79%.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Can I just clarify the change in capacity? I have on the papers 6.8437 to 8.365. That doesn't add up to me to 0.35.
No, that's correct. So what happened when the application was lodged, your administrator Stacey was one step ahead of the designers who drew the drawing and said that the designer's drawings calculations were wrong. So she properly pointed out that the capacity was, I think, 8 point. Let me get it now. She pointed out that it was 8.0351, and we adjusted the application back in April to reflect that, and thanked Stacey. She then took the application forward and it was processed. And what I'm saying is that clearly in my submission, the application before you is at 8.0351 as at the beginning of April. And what I'm saying is that, and you don't have to do this, I'm just simply asking if you consider doing it, is that between the time that we lodged the application and now, the architects have gone out and actually said the shelving that will be used will be slightly larger than we anticipated. So that's where the 0.35 difference comes from. The alternative to you not doing that would be that if you grant this licence, we then go away and we lodge a major variation application and it gets advertised. My request for you to do it this morning was me seeking an indulgence from you over 0.35 of a square metre.
Thank you. Can I maybe just check something? Bear with. Sorry to dwell on that, but it's just so that we are clear. The papers apparently should say it as the 8 point, and the difference would be 0.35. It's unfortunate it's not been changed. I don't think there's any issue with that. Does anyone else think there's any issue with that change in size? No. Are we happy that the petrol station does meet the statutory test? I think, yeah, yes. No issue with that. I think then we can move to the recommendations, which are, and I'll read them out. 1, we grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other discretionary local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 2, to propose a modification to the operating plan or layout plan or both, and if the applicant accepts the proposed modification, request that the applicant amend the application and thereafter grant the modified application with the proposed amendment subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 3, defer the application to the next licensing board, or 4, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. I now ask then for motions. Councillor Fotheringham.
Thank you, Convener. I would propose that we grant the application subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary local conditions which the board may wish to impose. Thank you.
Seconder.
Happy to second, but also to just specify about the home delivery conditions as well.
That is something, that unfortunately I missed. Angus Council have home delivery conditions. Are you happy to accept? Great. Okay. Well, with that, is that unanimous? Agreed. Thank you very much. That takes us on to Appendix B, licence number 461, Salties, Brecon Road, Montrose. I believe we have Graham Sutton with us.
I'm there myself because
Can you?
my agent's actually on holiday, so I'm kind of here myself. So I don't have too much to say around the table, but you're aware. Well, there's not. But you've seen it all. We're a small new-time cafe restaurant, and we're just looking for a licence just to sell alcohol with meals. It's not going to be like a drinking establishment of such with draft lager and that. It's just kind of, a refreshment with a drink with your meal, and that's really all we're looking for. Is just the licence. That's it, really. So, hopefully you can help us out.
Thank you very much for that. Click it off. There's also a licence and standards report. I'm just wondering, Kevin, do you have anything to?
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, I should just mention it's not in the report. The premises has actually been operating under occasional licences since the start of July, and I haven't had any complaints in relation to the premises.
Thank you. I can also see that there are no objections. So I'm just going to put this microphone off. Councillor Braze.
I think this is really straightforward, and when you're ready, I would like to move that we grant this.
Again, I'll go to the, I think that's fair enough. I'll go, sorry.
Sorry, Convener, I did have a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Sorry.
I don't mean to rain on Councillor Brae's parade. So there's a couple of comments. There's one comment here from Building Standards about the Section 15 completion certificate. Have you had a chance to look at those yourself? If you've got to have that Section 15 completion certificate acceptance from Building Standards before you can apply for a full licence. So that's my first question.
Yeah, the Section 50, I think we've got that. I think Brian Clark came down and said that the building's been completed. And I think he said this, so I think that's all in hand. I think he said he might have to come out and do another inspection to coincide with this. Would that be right? Okay.
Lee, could you maybe enlighten us on that?
Yeah, thank you, Convener. Yeah, no problem. Since the papers were made up, the completion certificate has been accepted. It's just the Section 50, which I think you've applied to planning, but we haven't got an application, so it can be turned around in a day. It's not a problem, but it's just a reminder.
And just going back to the external drinking area conditions, have you seen those and are you prepared to accept them?
That was no drinking after 9 o'clock on the deck, and I think that's what it was, isn't it? That's not an issue. Okay.
Read them out. At 1, grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other discretionary local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 2, to propose a modification to the operating plan or layout plan or both, and if the applicant accepts the proposed modification, request that the applicant amend the application and thereafter grant the modified application with the proposed amendment, subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 3, to defer the application to the next licensing board. Or 4, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. With that, I'll ask then members to move. Councillor Braze.
Yes, thanks, Convener. I would like to move that we grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other discretionary local conditions which the board may wish to.
Councillor Clark.
Happy to second that, Chair.
Are we unanimous? Agreed? Thank you very much. Moves us on to item 5, which starts at page 20. These are a new premises licence application under Licence in Scotland Act 2005. And the first one is licence number 462, Salou, Eastern European Shop, 218 High Street, Arbroath. And we... Right. Excuse me if I pronounce this wrongly. Florin Vasil Radu?
Hello, it's right. Yeah, it's totally right. No problem.
Okay,
hello.
Thank you. Would you like to talk to your application?
Yeah, we can definitely debate a little bit. So the shop is present on the high street for a couple of years just now, and we were considering just to extend a little bit the diversity in products, adding alcohol license, and that's pretty much what we wanted to do. It's not going to be such a large variety. We are not intending to become an alcohol shop, but it's just on top of the convenience store and just like a completion of the food that we are offering in terms of Eastern varieties.
Thank you very much for that. There's nothing really from the licence standards officer, so we'll just move to any questions. Councillor Whiteside.
Thanks, Convener. No, I didn't have a question. I was just going to say it looks very straightforward and maybe we should just move to recommendations.
Okay. Yeah. I would have to agree. The recommendations I have on page 20, I believe. And they are, 1, you'll be getting used to these, to grant the application subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 2, to propose a modification to the operating plan or layout plan or both, and if the applicant accepts the proposed modification, request that the applicant amend the application and thereafter grant the modified application with the proposed amendment, subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 3, to defer the application to the next licensing board, or 4, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. I'll ask then Councillor Melville.
Yeah, thank you, Convener. I move that we grant the application subject to the statutory conditions and any other local conditions.
Councillor Whiteside.
Happy to second that.
Are we all unanimously agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. Your application has been granted.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Feel free to let us know what are the next steps in order to abide the law, and nevertheless the date that we can start getting the portfolio present in the premises. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. That takes us to sorry. Yep, it's item 6.
No, the junction, sorry. The junction.
Oh, sorry, it's at the bottom of the page, yeah.
And it's Janet.
Okay, so this is Appendix B, licence number 463, The Junction, Dundee Road, Newtown. And it's on sales. We have with us, is it Janet? It is. Janet, would you like to talk to your application?
Yes, thank you. The premises is the former Belmont Arms Hotel. I bought that in 2021 and renovated it so that the old hotel side is now effectively a house where I took out the bar area and placed in a kitchen diner. And then I restored the function suite as it had been badly damaged by previous tenants. The idea being that the premises can be run as either a B&B or as a full self-catering property with or without the function suite, so that if people do rent the whole property, they have the capability to hold their own events. Effectively, I will just be renting the space and I will provide any of the people who rent the property with details of local service providers for catering, to run the bar, to provide all the furniture, to do everything else in relation to the event that they wish to organise. In relation to the B&B, I do have a little flat at the back of the property, so I will be on site in order to obviously run the B&B myself.
Thank you for that. LSO, would you?
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, this has come to me, and I have a few queries in relation to it. The first being the mention of an honesty bar and how that is going to work. Obviously, for the sale of alcohol to take place, there has to be somebody there to authorise the sale of alcohol. So we could get some clarity on that.
Yes, so in relation to that will be predominantly sort of the B&B side. So I will be available if I'm running the B&B. The idea will be to provide a quantity of single serving alcohol in either bottles or cans, so that if people wish to purchase that, I will then be able to take payment before they leave the premises.
Sorry. The next being the children's conditions, and really the one to focus on here is the baby changing facilities. Now, you've mentioned that this will be provided by event organisers. However, if you're going to have all ages available, you will have to have, the premises itself will have to have baby changing facilities. So you have the option of putting baby change facilities in or changing the ages.
Yeah, the plan there is obviously before the event takes place for me to speak to the event organiser to see what guests they're actually having. Within the function suite areas, I do have some areas where there are other soft furnishings, and I have a portable baby changing facility for babies and infants. And I've also got privacy scenes, so if there's nursing mothers or anything like that, they can be facilitated behind the privacy scenes. And again, all of those things are flexible. So, as a result of whatever the event planner says that they actually require, then that'll be what I provide. And obviously I will also have the other facilities that might be needed for baby changing.
Yeah, I'll now open up. Councillor Dunlop.
When you're having your functions, is there going to be a premises licensed person? I know you said you live next door around. It's just that who's going to be sort of in charge of the licence in case there's any trouble or anything like that?
So at any event, I will be present, and I will be the premises manager for that.
Any other questions? Yeah, Tina?
Yes, Convener, I think the LSO had also raised about the model conditions for children. I don't know, Kevin, whether you want to speak about that?
Thanks, Jane. Yeah, the model local conditions that are being presented here don't really fall in line with anything that we have in place at the moment, primarily because they relate to restaurants and bars. So what you're presenting at the minute doesn't really fit with what we have as model conditions. So would you want to expand on that?
I think because it is going to be events run by individuals. So as I say, I've tried to be as flexible as possible in order to ensure that I've got whatever facilities that the events will need. Not all events will obviously have children at them. But if they do, as I said earlier, I'll provide as many facilities as I possibly can with private areas, privacy screens. Because the function suite itself is as it was originally, I don't believe that the toilet area itself would be the best place for changing babies and nursing mothers. So I prefer to provide a more bespoke, a more comfortable facility for them with the portable equipment.
Just through yourself, Convener, if that's okay. Just to sort of clarify, there are mandatory conditions attached to each premises licence which are set by way of the legislation, and that is what we're talking about in relation to the baby changing facilities. But there are also model local conditions that the board includes attached to every application if they think it's applicable. By virtue of their statement of licensing policy, those have been reviewed and incorporated. So they're normally attached as standards. I have a copy here, and I don't know if you've seen them, because they don't really fall to be attached in their entirety to what you're proposing. And I think it would be for you to make a statement to the members here about what you'd be looking for them to take off the model conditions to be able to allow them to grant this application. There was also another question I had about your operating plan. With your application, you put in a full statement, which was very detailed. There was you know what I'm talking about. And within that, there were various activities that I can't see that are stated on your operating plan. You've talked about a lot of different things that I can't see are on your operating plan. So I completely understand what you're saying about flexibility, but you can only operate your business in accordance with the operating plan. And if you don't have some things in there, I just wondered whether that's something you also wanted to take some time to reflect on and perhaps come back to the board if members were decided to defer this matter.
Yes, obviously I haven't been given any of that information, so I can't really comment at the moment.
It's online and available to members of the public, but you haven't seen the statement of licensing policy. Okay. We can certainly provide you with a copy of that.
We could decide on the application today, or I would suggest another option is that we defer the application to the next board to give you time to actually look at these issues and address them, to come back with a plan that I think for the board looks more acceptable. How would you feel about that?
It would be very difficult for me because in relation to the classification of the building, that and having a premises licence actually negates the need for a short-term let licence so that I can actually start trading. I did actually first submit this application in January this year, and it was only in June that I actually had a meeting with the licensing officer. So for the whole of this year, I've been unable to trade. And obviously any more delays will mean that I continue unable to trade.
Sorry, just to clarify then, are you saying you would prefer us to make a decision
It would be open to members to put this to the end of the business today and come back if the applicant would like to go away and have a look at the model conditions and consider that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like at the moment we're in a position to be able to make a decision because we've not covered everything that we need to know.
I'd welcome that opportunity, thank you.
There is also a special civic licensing on the 5th of September, which isn't, you know, that long away, so we could add on a board. But it's up to yourself. I mean, if you want to have a look at the conditions and see how you can actually satisfy them and come back later today, later on, that's entirely up to you.
Could I do that, and then if I'm not able to satisfy the conditions today, take you up on your deferment for September?
Yes, you could do that, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we will defer then to the end of this meeting. Okay, agreed? Takes us now to item 6, which is page 31 on the papers. Premises licence request to vary under the Licensing Act 2005. And we have item A, Greens of...
Sorry, I think it didn't really occur to me at the start of this meeting that I should perhaps make a statement of transparency in relation to item 6F, the Angus Alchemy application. I do know the applicant. We both served on the board of Angus Alive, but it's certainly not in any sort of, we don't have a social connection or any business connection, and I'm quite happy that I'm capable of making an unbiased decision in this case. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Councillor Price. Licence number 288, Greens of Kirriemuir, 16 High Street, Kirriemuir. And we have Andrew Hunter again.
Hello again.
Hello, Andrew.
I've got Mr. Excuse me. I've got Mr. Akaseki, who's in the corner, one of the directors of the applicant company. He instructed me that he would rather stay over there than come over here, but
okay. Okay. Do you want to present?
Thank you. This is primarily a variation to add in additional information to the operating plan that effectively would allow a home delivery service. The home delivery conditions proposed, I think, in the LSO's report are absolutely fine and acceptable to us. The applicant would use the Snappy Shopper application. They'll do deliveries from their own in-house staff who'll be trained by staff. And the app that's used allows the delivery to be tagged and requires the driver to go through an age verification process at the point of delivery. It comes about following a change of ownership of the premises into Mr. Akiseki's company. I'd also ask, if I can, just at this stage, if I could request that you update your records of the names of the premises to now call it Premier Kirriemuir rather than Greens of Kirriemuir, just following the change of ownership, if that's acceptable. That's the background to it. Happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
A note there is an LSO report. Is there anything to add to that?
No, nothing further.
Okay, great. With that, we'll open to any questions from the board. No? Okay, we'll move to recommendations, which are 1, to grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other variation to the conditions to which the licence is subject and the board may wish to impose. 2, to defer the application to the next licensing board. Or 3, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. Councillor Melville, sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Convener. I move that we grant the application subject to the standard conditions and the home delivery conditions which are acceptable.
Councillor Whiteside.
Happy to second that.
Are we all unanimous? Agreed?
Thank you very much.
Our next one is at page 36 in your papers. Licence number 62, Morrison's Daily, Unit 1, Millfield Road, Arbroath. And this is off sales. The agent, yep, Alex Green.
Morning, Convener. Morning, Your Honours.
Good morning. Would you like to present to the board, please?
Of course, thank you, Convener. Very similar to Mr Hunter's application, really. Morrison's Daily, basically Alliance Property Holdings Limited, very experienced operators, over 1,200 convenience stores throughout the UK. Morrison's took over the large McCall's chain of convenience stores about 2 years ago and have been busy converting these over to Morrison's Dailies. The application is simply to add the ability to provide home deliveries from the store. The applicant's very experienced at delivering groceries, including alcohol. All rules, regulations and laws are strictly followed. Sections 119, 120 of the Licensing Scotland Act make it clear what is and isn't allowed, and this is enhanced by your board's own policy document. I can, of course, confirm that my client will comply with the law and your policy document in relation to its delivery service, and happy to accept the additional conditions as recommended by the LSO. So I'll conclude by thanking the board for its time and invite you to grant the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Dunno.
Good morning. This is my local store, so I'm quite interested in this. Will you be actually taking orders in the store itself and delivering from the store, or is it from another place?
It's just from the store, councillor. It's just standard home deliveries from the store using the usual third-party delivery companies. Nothing, you can't take orders in store.
Thank you, Convener. I move that we grant the application subject to the standard conditions and the additional home delivery conditions.
Councillor Clark.
Just beat me to it, Convener. Happy to second.
Thank you. Is that unanimous? Agreed. Thank you. We will move now then to there's Morrison's Daily again.
Me again, Convener.
Oh yeah, okay. It's page 38 of your papers, and this one is licence number 383, Morrison's Daily, 90 High Street in Forfar. Okay, Alex.
Thank you, Convener. It's identical to the previous application, so you've got a busy agenda. I won't just repeat myself. All I'll do is just tag on the fact that this one has a tiny difference, and that is that we were rectifying a minor discrepancy to the layout plan. For some reason, historically, the small secondary alcohol section didn't actually have the red line around it on the plan, so all we're doing is adding the red line to an existing alcohol section. Doesn't change anything, doesn't change any of the display numbers, etc. And everything else is as before, same delivery service to be added to the store. Thank you, Your Honours.
Thank you very much. Any questions on this one? Okay, we'll move to the recommendations, which are 1, to grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other variation to the conditions to which the licence is subject that the board may wish to impose. 2, to defer the application to the next licensing board. Or 3, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. Councillor Melville.
I move the grant, Convener, subject to the standard conditions and the additional home delivery conditions.
Councillor Whiteside. Are we unanimously agreed? Agreed. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honour.
Thank you. We'll now move to page 41, which is item D, licence number 132, Key Store, 39 Queen Street, Montrose, off sales. And we have Gordon Emsley, who's on remote. Gordon, would you like to present? Would you like to present to the board?
Thank you, Your Honour. So I'm representing SRG Convenience Limited this morning. The background is that my clients purchased a property some time ago, and this is a modernisation, so very much a case of significant investment refit to bring the kind of store into kind of the modern world. We're planning to change a number of items within the operating plan. Currently, 30 moving. Providing background music, and that is basically an FM kind of Radio 2 type channel that comes through Premier and Key Store as part of that service, and then food to go through home delivery of both food and alcohol. The outline conditions by the LSO are acceptable. We wish to amend the alcohol display area. You'll see on the layout plan that there is an enclosed area in red. This is kind of a new concept, which is very much a case of secure alcohol display, where it's an electronic door that's manually operated by the person walking in there. There is a control panel behind the service counter that should, they have control over that should there be young people in the shop and we don't wish access to that area at all. It's controlled from the back panel. So basically secure area behind the counter, secure area on the shop floor. And the size of the display area is consonant with the Key Store kind of ranging now post-COVID, where there's been an influx of new European beers and a significant increase in spirits, just generally broadening the service provision to the local community. I believe it's a competent application and would no representations or comments, and would move to grant, Your Honours.
Thank you for that. I'll open up. No, so there is an issue here. I see building standards. Is that what you were going to raise? Yeah. Do we have anyone could talk to the building standards?
Yeah, thank you, Convener.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a minor issue for us. The walk-in freezer is absolutely acceptable, but a building warrant and completion certificate will be required. Okay.
Any other questions? Councillor Melville.
Yeah, thanks, Convener. Just about the remote home delivery conditions, whether or not the applicant would be prepared to accept that. I can see that he is saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Anyone else? No? Okay, with those provisos, we will move to the recommendations, which are 1, to grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other variation to the conditions to which the licence is subject that the board may wish to impose. 2, to defer the application to the next licensing board. Or 3, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. Councillor Melville.
Thank you, Convener. I move the grant subject to standard conditions and the additional delivery conditions.
And Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Convener. The applicant has accepted everything we've asked, and a bit of a variation on a theme this morning, but I'm happy to second.
Are we unanimous? Agreed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honour.
We move to page 44. Which is item E, licence number 45, Golden Line Filling Station, Montrose Road, Arbroath. And we have Gordon again. Do you want to present?
Good morning, Gordon.
Okay, Gordon, whenever you're ready.
So exactly the same situation or as the previous application. The difference is here, this isn't an enclosed area, but again, it's modernisation, home delivery and the conditions are accepted, and complete modernisation of the shop. Familiar to most people driving in and out of Arbroath, the Golden Line filling station and caravan site previously, a bit of an icon, and this is just to provide a wider range and services to the community in which it serves. Nothing more to add, Your Honour.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions? No? Okay, we'll move swiftly to the recommendations, which are 1, to grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other variation to the conditions to which the licence is subject that the board may wish to impose. 2, to defer the application to the next licensing board, or 3, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. Councillor Whiteside.
I didn't realise my hand was up there, but I would move to grant the licence subject to the relevant local conditions and the remote delivery
And Councillor Braze.
Yes, happy to second.
Are we agreed unanimously? Agreed. Thank you very much.
Obliged, Your Honour. Thank you.
That takes us to page 47 on your papers. Licence number 450, Angus Alchemy, Micro Distillery and Visitor Centre, Woodhill, Carnoustie. And we have Karen Gatherson. Gatherham, sorry. Apologise. Okay, would you like to present to the board?
I'm here today with our client M. Campbell Archibald of Angus Alchemy. We are seeking a variation to the premises licence to include the halfway houses within the licence. As you probably already know, Angus Alchemy is a local moonshine, rum and gin distillery set off the E92 near Carnoustie, which offers a different visitor experience from other distilleries with tours and tastings promoting the spirits of Angus. The halfway houses are 2 holiday accommodation buildings, each catering for 4 guests, which sit in the grounds of Angus Alchemy. Once the guest houses are finished, this will add an extra guest experience to the distillery's offering, and it gives the guests attending tasting sessions opportunity to stay at the premises and enjoy the sessions without worrying about driving afterwards. It will also allow guests the chance to explore the local area. Further to this, the client wishes to offer welcome packs containing alcohol made at the distillery to the guests on arrival at the accommodation, and these will be available on a pre-order basis. These won't be full bottles, obviously, but miniatures depending on the number of guests in the property. Children will be allowed to stay in the guest house, but there'll be no welcome packs left in the house when there are children under 12 staying. We'd also like to take this opportunity to give the board and building standards comfort by confirming that a completion certificate will be applied for as soon as the work is completed. So this is a unique visitor attraction in the heart of Angus, and offering accommodation with the welcome packs is an opportunity to expand on this offering by tailoring the packages to the taste of the guests by their choice of locally distilled spirits. With that, I invite you to grant.
Thank you very much for that. There is an LSO report. Is there anything you would like to add?
Thanks, Convener. No, there's nothing further to the report.
Okay, with that, I'll open up to questions. Councillor Whiteside.
Thanks, Convener. Thanks for the application. It's really good to see an enhanced tourism offer in the South Angus area. I'm just wondering how close to completion the works are.
It should hopefully be this weekend, early next week. The properties will all be finished.
Love to visit at some point in the near future.
We move to recommendations.
I think Tina maybe wants to.
All right. Sorry, Tina, do you have something to add?
Yes, just through yourself. Again, same point as before, the children's conditions. Currently, no food is sold. Is that correct in your... Is that right? No food is sold. And you have children's conditions attached to your current licence. So I just wondered whether this is about, so you're including within your licensed area the accommodation now. If you look at the children's conditions, where no food is sold, no children under the age of 16 will be permitted into any premises, and young persons aged 16 or 17 will only be permitted into the licensed premises until 9 p.m. Now, those are the conditions that you currently have attached to your licence. And I don't know if you've had the opportunity to look at all of the model conditions. Again, for example, children and young persons are only permitted to be present in licensed premises seated at tables and not at bar counters. that doesn't appear to me to be something that you can achieve with accommodation. So I wondered whether you wish the opportunity to, well, to look at the conditions first probably, consider those and make a motion to members about the operation of the current conditions that are attached to your licence.
Sorry, Tina, when would that happen?
Have you seen the children's conditions? Well, with respect to the applicant, I think she'll need the opportunity to go and have a look at those and come back and talk to the board. I don't know whether you'll be able to do that today or whether that's something that could be deferred. I don't have another copy. I gave my copy to the other lady. I don't know if anybody... Right, yes, I can send them to you. That's not a problem. We don't have much board business left, but if members are happy to defer again to the end of the board, we have that other matter to deal with before this one.
Members happy? Okay, we'll defer. Thank you. That takes us to, if I'm correct, page 55, agenda item number 7, premises licence request to extend hours under the Licensing Scotland Act 2005. And we have licence number 318, DeVito's 11 Millgate Loan. And I believe we have Sarah Cooper from Thorntons. Sarah?
Good morning, convener. I am appearing remotely in representing the licence holder, KWS Property Limited. There's a slight
Sorry, there seems to be feedback or something coming through. Okay, sorry about that. If you'd like to go ahead.
Apologies. Sorry, I think there's still feedback from my side.
How's that? Yeah, just go ahead.
Yes, okay. Apologies for that, convener. Before addressing the board more fully, the operating plan I'm in receipt of for the premises suggests that the core licence hours on the premises licence are from 7 p.m. on the Saturday and Sunday, but from the appendix report it appears that the current on-sale hours are from 1:30 on the Saturday and noon on the Sunday. The application submitted was on the understanding that the core hours were from 7 p.m. rather than 1:30 on the Saturday and 12 noon on the Sunday, and it appears that the licence hours in place are beyond what was originally understood, as I've stated. The request is therefore more modest than what is sought in the application. To provide some context for the application, the extended hours application is submitted for DeVito's nightclub in Arbroath. The application seeks to extend the licensed hours for the Bell Rock Music Festival, which is being held within Arbroath from the 23rd to the 25th of August 2024. The music festival is of local significance and it's a festival with a full programme of live performances. The premises will host live bands over the course of the weekend, showcasing different music styles, including hosting the closing act of the festival. The premises will also host the official after party at the premises until 2:30 a.m. on Monday, the 26th of August. The licence holder is involved in various local community events, and this is no exception. The premises hopes to be central to the success of the local festival. Assuming the core hours are as stated in the appendix report, having reviewed the live acts organised for the weekend and the times in which the venue is required for hosting those live acts, there are amendments to requested hours, and it's intended that the premises require licensed hours over the weekend as follows. The earlier times on the Friday are not required, and the hours as per the operating plan and licence hours in place from 7 p.m. on Friday the 23rd of August until 7:30 a.m. on Saturday the 24th of August. The opening times to remain at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday the 24th of August, but extended to 3 a.m. on Sunday the 25th of August. And the hours as per the operating plan and licensed hours in place from noon on Sunday the 25th until 12:30 a.m. on Monday the 26th. Effectively, what is requested is an extension by 30 minutes on Sunday the 25th and on Monday the 26th. So from 2:30 a.m. to 3 a.m. and 2 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. respectively. In the report, there's reference to the Statement of Licence Policy, paragraph 6.3, which provides that any application for licensed hours for more than 4 years per hour expanding extra opening hours. The amended times would take the licensable hours within 14 hours and in accordance with the policy, which would alleviate concerns under paragraph 6.3 of the board's policy. However, the report also mentions that the board requests a closing time of 2:30 a.m. on Sunday the 25th of August 2024 and now 3 a.m. on its 3 a.m. on Saturday the 25th, Sunday the 25th, and 2:30 on Monday the 26th, which is beyond the board's policy on the terminal hour being midnight for Sunday the 25th of August. It is noted in the report that the extension of hours is outside the board's licensing policy, but the premises already has permitted licensed hours for on sale hours until 2:30 a.m. on Sunday the 25th, until 2:30 a.m. which is out with policy and late opening conditions in place in respect of the library.
Sarah, sorry, can I stop you just for a moment? There's an awful lot of information and changes there that we're actually only hearing today, so it's quite difficult, certainly for me, I don't know about other board members, to keep up with this. I'm wondering the best way forward. Sorry, I've got a councillor that's got a question. Councillor Melville.
Thank you for that. I wonder if you would be able to provide our licensing officers with a document which has these proposed changes on them, which could then be circulated so that we can compare the two in front of us, because I think that would probably be more useful. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Dunlop.
Yeah, as the local member, I'm not happy about the licence on the Monday 26th to 2:30 a.m. because with drinking up time, that's going to be after 3 a.m. and there is a lot of residents in the vicinity, children going to school, etc. next day, and I don't feel that that extra half an hour is actually needed for this festival. Thank you.
Yeah, it is quite difficult because obviously members spend a bit of time going through these papers and getting themselves, ready for the meeting. And then if we get to a meeting and quite a lot of it changes, it's very difficult for us to keep up, as you can imagine. Just bear with me.
Hello, Sarah. What I think the board might be suggesting is that we've already got 2 applications that are being deferred to the end. So what we might do is, at the end of our agenda, when we come to the end of our business, we'll maybe adjourn Angus Licensing Board, then we'll have our civic meeting and we'll come back to Angus Licensing Board. So we'll adjourn Angus Licensing Board till after conclusion of the civic meeting. So that may take us a good hour and sufficient time to email the law licensing email, and Tracy Candy will pick these changes up. Then we can circulate it to board members, because we have the junction and Angus Alchemy to deal with as well. So you would just need to, okay?
That's understood.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
So if we defer this one.
Yeah, we'll defer
to the end.
Defer this one till after civic licensing.
Yes,
we'll come
but
back.
We'll reconvene.
We'll reconvene. By that time, we'll have had something in writing. Is that okay? Agreed? Thank you. We're now on to item 8, pages 59 in your papers. And, oh, you'd be glad to hear these are personal licence delegated. So on item 8, do we agree to note the delegated? On to item 9, page 61 in your papers. Item 9, occasional licences delegated approval. Do we agree to note? Item 10, page 75. And these are premises, item 10, premises licence, minor variations, delegated approvals. Do we agree to note? Item 11, page 77 in your papers. And this is extended hours, delegated approval. Do we agree to note? Okay, item 12 before we go on.
Well, George, could we actually defer this one to the end as well? Because there's issues with the applicant, getting the applicant into the meeting.
So you mean after civic?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there's a recommendation that we defer this one to after civic as well because we have a bit of difficulty getting the applicant. Do we agree to that? Agreed. With that?
So if we adjourn the meeting just now, but we can reconvene this meeting after civic. So John, civic licensing board stream will stop just now, but we'll restart the meeting after civic. Okay, is that happy?
Yes, I think with that we deserve a comfort break. How long would you suggest? 5 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes.